Welcome to the midnight hour. Clara jolted awake, a strangled gasp escaping her lips. The insistent chiming of a clock had ripped her from a dreamless sleep, its relentless rhythm echoing in the quiet darkness. But something felt wrong. She didn't own a clock. Her heart hammered a frantic tattoo against her ribs as she fumbled for her phone, its soft glow revealing a stark 11:58 p.m. The chimes intensified, growing louder and more insistent, resonating not from a physical source but from within the very walls of her house. Fear, cold and primal, snaked its way up her spine. She threw the covers back, scrambling off the bed, but her legs refused to obey. A spectral glow emanated from the corner of her room, solidifying into wispy figures, a child with hollow eyes, an elderly woman with a mournful expression, a man in a tattered uniform. Ghosts. Dozens of them, their spectral forms coalescing around her bed. Before she could scream, icy fingers clamped onto her arms. A chorus of whispers, a cacophony of longing and despair, filled the room. They were pulling her, dragging her towards the floorboards, their whispers morphing into a single, hungry plea.
Another soul, another soul, another soul, another chance, another chance, another chance.
Clara fought with all her might, but they were relentless. The floorboards creaked open, revealing a yawning abyss that reeked of damp earth and forgotten memories. They dragged her down, the world warping around her until she found herself in a cavernous, dimly lit basement. Here, the air hung heavy with a chilling despair. Hundreds, maybe thousands of ghosts flickered in and out of existence, their hollow eyes fixed on her. They were like moths drawn to a flame, their longing a tangible force. This was a place beyond, the space between breaths, where the recently departed lingered, searching for a way back, a way to inhabit the living world. Panic clawed at her throat. She couldn't breathe. This was it. This was how she died. Desperation spurred her forward. She pushed through the throng of spirits, their whispers turning into pleas, accusations, desperate cries. The air grew thick with mist, obscuring everything in a suffocating blanket. But then, a flicker of golden light pierced the gloom. A lone candle burned on a dusty chest of drawers, casting a warm, welcoming glow. With renewed hope, Clara snatched the candle, its warmth a beacon in the suffocating darkness. She ran, the ghosts giving chase, their pleas transforming into chilling wails. Everything was blurry, the outline of her house materialized for a fleeting moment, a figure screaming from a window, but it faded as quickly as it appeared. Finally, she reached her front door, collapsing on the porch steps, gasping for breath. Her house, once familiar, now held an unsettling presence. The red front door, usually unremarkable, now glowed with an ethereal light. Without hesitation, she threw the door open, the candlelight spilling into the darkness. The red light pulsed, beckoning her forward. Stepping through the doorway, the world dissolved into a blinding white light. When her vision cleared, she found herself back in her bed, the clock displaying a reassuring 12:01 a.m. Silence reigned. Clara sat up, heart still pounding, the candle clutched in a white-knuckled grip. The candle, now cold and unlit, was the only evidence of her terrifying journey. The ghosts, the realm between realms, all a horrifying dream. Or was it? She never slept soundly again. The memory of those hungry eyes, the desperate pleas, haunted her waking moments. The red door on her house, once unremarkable, now held a chilling significance. It was a constant reminder of the night she glimpsed the realm beyond, a chilling secret she would carry forever, a testament to the thin veil that separates life from the desperate longing of the dead. The fluorescent lights hummed their monotonous tune, a constant companion in the graveyard silence of the overnight shift. Sarah, a security guard at a dusty old museum, leaned back in her chair, fatigue gnawing at the edges of her consciousness. A moment's weakness, she thought, just a quick rest to sharpen her focus. Before she knew it, darkness draped over her vision, the hum transforming into a rhythmic lullaby. Suddenly, a booming chime resonated through the room, shattering her fragile sleep. But it wasn't the digital chime of the clock on the wall. It was deeper, more resonant, like a bell tolling from within the very stones of the museum. 12 tolls, each one echoing and amplifying until the room vibrated with its power. Panic jolted Sarah upright. Her eyes flew open, searching for the source of the sound. But the clock remained silent, its digital display mocking her with 2:13 a.m. A cold dread settled in her stomach. She wasn't dreaming. Then, she saw him. A tall figure shrouded in a tattered black cloak, standing beside her chair. His head was bowed, obscured by the hood's shadow. Fear choked a scream in her throat. The figure turned, revealing a skull-like face with hollow eye sockets that burned with an inner fire. He didn't speak, but with a gesture of his bony hand, beckoned her to follow. Sarah's legs, heavy with fear, refused to obey. Yet, a strange compulsion, an invisible force, propelled her out of the chair and after the ghostly figure. They walked, or rather, she glided, through a hallway that had been solid moments ago. Now, it was a swirling mist, the air thick and heavy, the only sound a mournful sigh carried on the unseen wind. As they moved, Sarah noticed others, hundreds, perhaps thousands of figures around her. They were all cloaked, all faceless, all walking aimlessly through the mist. Then, a collective gasp tore through the silence, not a sound but a ripple felt deeply within her. The figures had stopped, their attention fixated on her. A horrifying realization dawned on Sarah. She was different. In this ghostly procession, she, a living soul, glowed with an intensity that made her a beacon in the darkness. Fear, primal and raw, ripped through her. She bolted, running blindly through the swirling mist. Her screams erupted inside her head, a silent plea lost on the heavy air. They were after her, not with a malicious intent, but with a desperate longing. Their outstretched hands brushed past her, whispers of, "Take me, use me," echoing in her mind. She ran, her lungs burning, her legs screaming in protest. The mist seemed to stretch on forever, an unending purgatory. Finally, exhausted and filled with despair, she slumped against a crumbling pillar, the figures closing in around her. But just as they reached for her, a blinding white light erupted, splitting the darkness. It was a warmth she hadn't felt in this realm, a beacon of hope. Instinctively, she reached out, and the world dissolved into a chaotic swirl of color and sound. Sarah woke with a start, gasping for air, her heart hammering a frantic rhythm against her ribs. The familiar hum of the fluorescent lights assaulted her ears. She was back in her chair, the clock reading 3:27 a.m. Everything was as she'd left it, yet nothing felt the same. The museum, once a mundane building, now held a chilling secret. Sarah had glimpsed the veil between life and death, the desperate yearning of the restless dead. The knowledge gnawed at her, a constant reminder of the fragility of life and the terrifying consequences of venturing into realms unseen. The rest of the night shift crawled by. Every rustle of wind, every creak of the floorboard sent shivers down her spine. The memory of those hollow eyes, those outstretched hands, haunted her. She knew she would never look at the dead, or, more importantly, life itself, in the same way again. Sarah had walked the line between worlds, and the experience would forever mark her, a chilling secret she would carry to her grave. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like and comment.